Well, hello and welcome to my cooking class. Everyone, it's 3 o'clock. It's Thursday. We're live in my kitchen. And I am really excited to do this. And I think you're going to love this as well, especially if you have a garden. Because how many of you have just realized that there's zucchini everywhere? Like everywhere. So today's cooking class, we're actually going to use some of that zucchini because it's one of these amazing versatile items that we have in our kitchen that are plentiful and of course very economical. Like probably your friends are already dropping off zucchini, right? It's a really easy crop to grow. So what we're going to do today, I'm going to focus on a couple products. Number one is our cheeseburger pasta, which is brand new. And for those of you who are getting ready for school and sending your kids off to dorms, this is a staple that everyone should have. You have to have this on hand. In fact, I love it so much. I'm actually telling my customers when they place an order and they're sold in sets of 3 to just go ahead and get 2 sets. You're going to need 6 for sure, or you're going to be really unhappy. Trust me, it's amazing. And the other thing we're going to do, and I wanted to feature today, is our mac and cheese. As you know, throughout Canada and the United States, there's some very rampant burning fires. And every time you purchase a mac and cheese, this is our philanthropy package of meal will go to a food bank either in Canada or the United States. So this is a really good way to feel good while doing good. So let's get started with our cooking class, shall we? All right, one last thing before we get started. This is a fantastic pan. This is our saute pan. I'm going to be using it today, and for those of you who love it, the value of this is $110 American, $125 roughly Canadian, or it can be free. Yes, free, because when you decide to join me, like sharing your love of food in the kitchen and cooking a meal for your family and sharing it with others, and this can be a promotion that you earn in your first month of joining. Why would you pay $100+ for this when you can get it for free? And you're going to see how versatile it is. So it's good in the oven up to 425 degrees like this. The lid, because it's got glass in it, we don't recommend putting it in an oven that's over 350. So there you go. Perfect product. So let's get started. I'm going to get my stove cooking. And let's burn it. What burner am I going to use? Okay, so I am going to get the burner off to the side. You're not going to be able to see it, but basically what I've got is lean ground hamburger in here. And I'm going to add a little bit of oil because, of course, there's not much oil in my lean ground. And then we're going to, give me a second. Let's get it on this burner actually first. We're gonna let our oil heat up. And it's really important when you're cooking hamburger, and I hope you all know the importance of cooking hamburger before you put it in a meal. Number one is when you add heat to meat that's been ground, because there's a chance of bacteria because it's going through mills and whatever. The best way to get rid of bacteria is to cook it because heat will kill a lot of bacteria. And that's why when you're ordering hamburgers, and I don't get it in the United States, maybe because they have better cleaning ways, but they actually serve their hamburger where it's pink in the middle. To me, it's like, that to me is scary. That to me is like, we could have a bad problem here. So here we go. Got our oil heated. I've got an induction heat, so it heats up very hot. I can actually feel it right now. And we're just going to drop this in. I don't want it to splatter. And this is where this is going to come in so handy. This is our meat separator. As you see, it's just a big clump right now. I will move it off to the side, but we're just going to break this up into chunks. So if you've ever just used a fork or a spoon or a knife and you're chopping up the bottom of your pan and cutting it up, don't. Just buy this meat separator. I love it. And it's going to cook. So I'm going to move this off to the side on a different burner, but you can see how amazing this is. Now, there are other meat separators on the market, but I'm going to tell you that this one's really nice because it's got 3 blades. It has, as you can see, some sharpness on the bottom, but it won't wreck your pans. And the blades are far enough apart that it's super, super easy to clean, right? You can rinse out between. I've seen others that have maybe 5 or 6 blades, and it becomes an issue, okay? Hey, Julie, Karen, nice to see you. So let's get this moved off to the side because I'm now going to use this burner for something else. And we'll come back to that in a minute. Okay, so what am I doing on this burner? Well, we're going to make some marinara. I want to let you know that marinara that you buy in the store, so your spaghetti sauce and whatever, is filled with sugar. Yes, it is. So we're going to take our multi-purpose pot. I don't know if you can see, it's got a pouring spout, but it's got measuring graduations stamped right in here. I don't know if you can see that. And we're going to take some plain old crushed tomato here. This is just the 14-ounce can. I'm going to use my scraper in here, make sure I get all of this out, and we're going to make our own marinara, because I'm not going to tell you don't buy from the grocery store if I don't have a substitute to give you that's going to be a lot healthier. So we've got that all cleaned up. We'll put that in our recycle bin in a bit. And we're going to add our marinara seasoning. This marinara seasoning actually has, it says, a robust garlic and herb mix used for sauces. Oops, this gets hot really quickly. Give me a second. Even splattered me. Do I have tomato on my face? At least it's better than egg. Okay, so we're going to turn that down for starters, because induction, getting used to it is so fun. Bloopers, right? Anyway, it says a robust garlic flavor with herbs used as a sauce for pastas, lasagna, chicken, parmesan, and homemade pizzas. So this will make 6 cups of, if you're just adding a can, to crushed or diced tomatoes and put 3 tablespoons in, it will make 3 cups of sauce. But what I'm going to do, because I've just got 1 can of tomatoes here, I'm cutting it in half. Gosh, it's hot outside, and I think my stove is hot as well. It's really heating up quickly, which is becoming an issue because it's splattering all over my kitchen. Of course, the cleaning lady was here yesterday. So getting our, where's my spoon? The 4-in-1 spoon here. I'm just going to add approximately 1.5 tablespoons. Now, this is not baking cake, so it doesn't have to be exact, but I do just want to get this in here and let it simmer now on low. And we're going to go back to our beef. So I'm just going to swap these back and forth so you can see what I'm doing. Now, when I was talking about cooking your beef and we want to brown it, it's very important that we brown it. You also want to do it not just for the bacteria, for killing it, but also because the flavoring in your beef when it's cooked or seared, that's called Maillard technique. This will actually change the flavor that you're going to get. You get that caramelization. It's sort of a nutty flavor, and it just adds extra texture and flavor to your meal. Honestly, it is worth the effort to cook it, and I would not be adding this in raw at all. But we are going to use seasoning to this. Just wake this up. Okay, so now that I've sort of cleaned that, let's slide this over, turn this off. As you can see, my beef is cooking up here. We'll get the heat going a little bit more here. And I'm going to go back to chopping this up. So I've got nice thin chunks. Why am I doing this? Because we're actually going to use this in a roll. Yes, I'm going to call it this, I kind of call it a zucchini lasagna roll. Sort of got the idea watching some Pinterest videos the other day and went, oh my gosh, what a great way that's economical and can help people put a nice meal on the table. Okay, so once this is cooked, we need to add some seasoning to it because it's just plain old beef at this point. So I've got my 4-cup prep bowl. I've roughly got about 1/2 to 3/4 cup of water. And the ingredients I'm going to put in here, I mentioned mac and cheese. So I'm just going to dump this in. stay tuned. Believe it or not, we've got a modern Mac that's going to become available very soon. So if you have dairy intolerances, I might become your new best friend. I really might. Okay, and then we're going to grab our package of cheeseburger pasta. So I'm using the cutting shears here. And we'll dump this in as well. Now the reason we're putting it in water is so that we can get the flavor bursting out of the dry package. So we're going to, you can grab your whisk, or if you have a wand, and I want to make sure that I'm getting lumps out and that I'm getting everything moistened up so I can add it to my beef. Now if you're following directions on the cheeseburger pasta, you're going to realize that I'm totally not following the directions because I don't think it's necessary to make this dish. What I will do, because I know that right now I have family members here, my son in particular has a sweet tooth, and so part of the cheeseburger recipe is it does ask for hamburger, and I am going, or not hamburger, ketchup. Now, if you don't want to add ketchup, you can put in some of the marinara. So normally I would put ketchup in here, but I want him to learn how to make things a little bit healthier. So I'm actually going to add our marinara seasoning to this instead of ketchup because I know I'm going to have enough for this meal. Okay, so I'm just stirring this around. As you can see, it's cooking up. Next, what we're going to do, okay, so there's our sauce. We're basically ready for that. I'm going to go into my marinara, and I'm just going to add roughly a tablespoon or two. We can give this a stir. And I'm now ready to add it to my beef as soon as it's browned, and it's coming along really nicely here. So I did say we were going to make a lasagna, didn't I? A zucchini lasagna, roll-up lasagna. Okay, so that means we're going to pull out our mandolin. So grabbing your mandolin and having a cutting board, you're going to want to grab your zucchini, make sure it's washed. You're going to notice that, you know, in the beginning, it's got lots of green and thin, and this, don't throw this away, we're going to use it. But once it's down and flattened, we're just going to use, and by the way, this is the 1.5 millimeter size, so this is slicing it really thin. My son doesn't like zucchini. I'm not telling him what it is. I'm burying it with cheese, marinara. He'll never know. And that's the nice thing about zucchini. It will take on any flavor that you put it with. So that's brilliant. So you can see how easy this is. So I'm getting nice thin strips. Now, if you so choose, hey Pam and Melanie, nice to see you. If you so choose to make your 3 millimeter, your zucchini thicker because you want to get through more of it, or you want something a little bit more substantial, make sure that you salt. That you salt your zucchini, because when you salt your zucchini, it breaks it down and then it's easier to roll. If you're trying to roll a 3 millimeter zucchini, you're going to probably find that it's going to break apart. So salt it for, I don't know, maybe 5 minutes. It'll pull the moisture out, but it'll break down the fiber in it so that it is easier to roll. So let's get started. We've got our marinara going. Our beef is done. We're going to add some seasoning now. And we're just going to cook this up so it dries out a bit. We don't want it to be so wet that it becomes a big mess when we're rolling up our lasagna rolls. Get all the flavor mixed around here. Turn this down a little bit. And we're just going to cook it up. Okay, so fun food fact about zucchini. Zucchini, as I said, very popular, very inexpensive. Probably getting it dirt cheap if you've got a neighbor who's growing a garden and they can't get through it all. But zucchini is really good because it's got a lower caloric intake, so not a lot of calories is basically what I'm saying. But it's got essential vitamins and minerals like vitamin A, vitamin C. It's got potassium, and it's also got folate, so it's really good for you. The largest, here's an interesting fact, the largest zucchini grown goes to Canadian. Yes, a Canadian, he was an Italian Canadian in Niagara Falls area, grew a zucchini over 8 feet long, 8 feet, 3.3 inches. That is huge. So let's just talk, hi Leah, let's just talk about, does size matter when you're buying zucchini? And yes, it does matter. The larger the zucchini gets, it changes the zucchini. How exactly does it change? Well, what happens is, of course it gets larger, it retains more liquid. So you're losing flavor. And we talked about that with mushrooms the other day, how if you buy brown mushrooms, you're getting better value than the white mushrooms. So when you're buying zucchini, get the smaller ones. The other thing is, as the zucchini grows, the seeds in the inside become larger, the inside becomes mushier, and it's not as good for maybe salads, okay? So if you're chopping up salads, but those large ones are great if you want to do a lasagna boat. But if you're actually buying zucchini, or you've got zucchini in the garden, grab them when they're smaller because they're more condensed, they've got better flavor, and they're just great for you. So I'm cleaning off my mess here a little bit, so I've got some room. What we're gonna do is we're gonna grab a casserole dish, and I am now going to basically get everything organized. So with your casserole dish, let's get some marinara in the bottom. So coats, I'm gonna put most of it on there. I'm gonna say probably about 2/3 of it is going in the bottom. And I'm just going to spread it out a bit. We're keeping a little bit because I want to run it around the sides because it's going to look really nice as well. The dog's smelling. She could definitely smell how good it is in here. Then, now, okay, so we've got that done. We're going to grab our thin little zucchini slices, and we need, you can see that it's thinned off at the edge. We're going to make about the size of a lasagna. So you're going to maybe put 3 or 4 of these in a row. Can you see how I've got that here? Let me just grab my spoon, and we're going to take some of our pre-cooked meat with cheese and all that ooey gooey delicious flavor, and we're just going to roll it and place it inside. There we go. Sort of a little awkward here. Let me maybe turn my screen a little bit. So we're going to set it inside our marinara, and we're going to go through all of these. And as I said, we're going to just mix and match, getting them at a lasagna size, and roll this up. Now I'm not going to do all of these because surely you don't want to see me rolling here for the next 5 minutes or 3 minutes or so. But this is what we're going to do. We're then going to take our additional marinara and put cheese on top. What kind of cheese are you going to put on top? Well, you could put on mozzarella cheese, you could put on cheddar cheese, you could put Parmesan cheese on. I've got the oven heating up at 375 degrees, and we are going to bake it for about 15 minutes. Now remember, your meat's already cooked up, so it's just a matter of cooking up your zucchini and melting the cheese. The last minute that you're cooking it, we're actually going to put the broiler on instead, and we're gonna make it toasty brown. So I'm gonna go grab my TV version so you can see how it turned out. Are you ready for this? Here we go. This is our zucchini lasagna. So darn easy, and can you see any zucchini in there? I am going to see how I do tonight, being an imposter with pasta and using zucchini instead. So please take advantage of the produce that we have there right now. It's plentiful. Zucchini is super, super easy. Make sure, the one thing that I'm going to tell you that you must have to make these lasagna roll-ups is a mandolin. There is no way in the world you're going to be able to slice your zucchini into fine slices that will work for rolling. So if you're needing to get your 4-in-1 mandolin or any of these products that I've shared today, like the marinara sauce, by all means, reach out, grab them on my e-commerce website. If you have any questions about the products that you use, feel free to, again, reach out to me and come back again for another really quick cooking class, how to put a meal on the table in 20 minutes or less. Take care, everyone. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.